join me in welcoming Eric Hellman. Eric, who is one of our regular speakers, lives in Vancouver, overlooking Stanley Park. The beauty of nature gives him inspiration for preparing his awesome talks. Now let us get ready for meditation and Eric's talk by listening to Karen Trucker's morning prayer, I Will Surrender. And after Eric's talk, Carl Katz will play us one of his amazing songs. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day. And I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
And with that, as you let those words, vibrations, resonate through your being, I invite you to take a gentle breath. Relax into your chair, whatever you're seated on, and just begin to let go and surrender into that place that Karen has invited us to. Begin to feel the heat or cool in your hands, perhaps a vibration in them as well. And just begin to tune into your body. See where you're tight or where you're relaxed. And as you do so, take another breath and let it relax you even more. Begin to be aware of the many layers of you, your thoughts, your feelings, your body, and the presence and stillness that go even deeper than those. And as you take another breath, just begin to imagine, as Carl sang about, and John Lennon wrote, what it would be like to live a life that's real and pure and free. Yes, we will meet those roadblocks and those walls. But can I, with Spirit's help, with the help of love and God inside of me, find that peace that goes even deeper, that is always at my hand, always there with the choice to be still. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good, and I will release any fear that blocks my way. Take those words into the silence for a few minutes and just contemplate what it would be like to live your life from that place inside. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. As you think about those thoughts, begin to be aware of the room again. Begin to feel it tingling in your hands, pulsating in your feet. Whatever you feel in your body, and begin to come back to an awareness of the room very gently, and take a breath. And let your eyes begin to open. Come back into this earth plane, this room that you're sitting in. Feel grounded in your chair. Hear the sound of my voice. And come back for today's talk. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you at Unity White Rock for inviting me back. And it is a gift to me each time I am with you to learn more about my spiritual path and growth. And hopefully I'll be able to share some of that today. So I also feel somewhat shaky and energized, so there's something moving in me, and that's always an interesting sign. So let's see if I can move with that too. Today's talk, what will you have faith in this week? So for the next 12 months, Unity Worldwide will be exploring what are called the 12 powers, as Rosie mentioned. And those 12 powers are the powers of the human mind that help us to grow into the more that we're here to be. I think all of us aspire to be more in some aspect of our lives, and we have no idea of the largeness and the power and the beauty and the holiness, I think, that we are here to bring to this world. As the Unity website says, we were born with the attributes of the infinite, and our life's work is to develop and express them. So what I'd like to do is just let those 12 powers begin to appear on the screen. Watch them as they appear. Notice the words that speak to you. Love, understanding, perhaps order or release. What's that one? And this month is all about faith. Take a look at those words for a moment and just imagine what it's like to draw on those qualities in your own life. And that's what we'll be doing each month of 2021. So what is faith? Well, as some of you know, I often turn to my root word dictionaries, and in Latin, faith comes from fides, which means these four words: trust, confidence, reliance, and belief. And that's what today is about, is looking at where we place those aspects of our mind into things in the world. So what is faith? Well, for some people, that connotes God or a higher power. Some people who see themselves as religious call their religion their faith, so very much connected with that. But for other people, they look at it as, or we look at it as, belief without proof. That's why we're supposed to have faith, is just believe it without having proof, or maybe even belief in the impossible. But for me, that has come to be a little bit of a disservice to the idea of faith, because I'm a maths and science guy by background, and I like to have things a little bit more grounded. So that's what I want to explore today with you. I'd like to experience and explore faith from a practical point of view. In other words, how do we connect our worldly experience and our spiritual path or growth? So let's begin. Think for a moment about what you already have faith in. And here are a few examples of that. Think about what you have belief, trust, confidence, or reliance on. So for example, you might not have thought this picture would appear: a light switch. Do you have faith or belief or confidence that that's going to turn on a light? You have belief that it will draw an electric current to be able to do that. It's an implicit faith, but very much there. And here's another one. When you press the remote control, or maybe your husband does, whoever has remote control privileges in your household, when you press it, what do you have faith or belief will happen? How about this one on a computer and you're trying to connect to the internet, get something from Google? What do you have faith or belief will transpire? What do you think you're going to be able to access before you do? Same thing with a cell phone. And with this very common instrument and implement in our lives, when you put the key in the door or the key into the ignition, what do you believe or trust will happen? How about these ones? Whether you take medicines or supplements or vitamins perhaps, what do you believe it's going to give you? Or this one, what are your beliefs about money? Do you have too much of it? Too little of it? What are your beliefs of what it will bring to you in your world, in your life? What else do we have beliefs about? Well, do you have beliefs about science, about religion, about people in your life, good or bad? And what about the future? What are your beliefs about the future? Why do we put our belief or trust in these is a question that came to me, and I think it's because they work. They give us experiences we expect, and therefore our belief is met with results. Think of that light switch. When you turn it on, you believe, and the result is the light comes on. We often think that faith is about these two words, just believe. You know, how many people have just said, you know, if you'd only believe enough, it would happen? Well, yes and no. I'm not sure that faith is just about blind faith. I think it's more than that. I think faith is about belief and results, or what the Bible calls works. So this phrase, for example, a person is justified by works and not by faith alone, from 2 James. And this similar phrase, faith apart from works is dead. I think the writer here was trying to say, yes, have faith, but it's not blind faith. It's more than that. I'd like to use as an example something I found online called Grandma's apple pie recipe. Well, take a look at the recipe. And as you're going through recipes, you might go, oh, that looks like a good recipe. You might have belief or trust that it would be a good recipe. But if your results were this mishmash of crust and apple that you might not even want to serve to your pet, the faith wouldn't have been borne out in works, in results. And therefore, just having blind faith isn't enough. Continue with Grandma's apple pie for a moment. For me, faith has these elements. It has hope and wanting. In other words, having the idea of, I'd like to have something sweet or tasty for dinner, or I'd like to be able to make a pie. Well, Charles Fillmore called it having deep desire as one of the keys to having faith. The next step is belief and trust, as I've spoken about. But then the next step is taking actions. Actions that turn into the production, the manifestation of the hope and desire that you had, or works, such as a pie that looks like this and hopefully tastes similarly. I believe faith needs to be what I'll call a grounded faith, like that light switch, like that car. Otherwise, why bother to have faith at all? And that really is the foundation of unity. Unity began in the late 1800s by these two people, Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, as we've spoken about many times. They both had illnesses or diseases that were really compromising and limiting their lives. And through applying spiritual ideas like being still, like prayer, they found relief and release and transformation from their illnesses. And as other people saw what happened for them, they wanted it too and began asking, and that was the foundation of the Unistry ministry. It wasn't just belief, it was also results. So why did Charles say faith is the foundation of the 12 powers? Well, I tried calling him and emailing, but he just didn't respond. So I had to take it upon myself and listen inside. What came to me was this. I believe life is calling us to grow, to realize more of what's possible in our own lives and in our world. It's a bit like these seedlings coming up from the seeds that were their origin. In those seeds were embedded the call to grow, and that plant is responding in kind. It is doing what it is here to do. And I think that's true for all of humanity. I think that life is about learning, for example. And here's just one simple example of my grandnephew, who's just a little bit over a year old. He's just been walking for about a month, and now he's already starting to dance. He had a hope. He saw others doing it. He wanted it. and he accomplished it. Learning is something we do our whole lives. It's learning to skate, it's learning to sing, it's learning to play and relate to others. Learning is an everyday thing, and it's something our soul aspires to. Education is another way that we follow that impulse to grow. You can see, or I see in this young woman's face, the desire to create a better future and the belief that she can with the education that she's received. I think that's part of why she's beaming. The desire to grow comes in this form as well, exploring the world. Just as these explorers did for centuries before us, it is about going beyond the known, whether it's a flat earth or the country we've lived in. But there are other explorers as well in medicine, science, and technology. They have helped pioneer the world we live in because of the hope, the desire, the application of those, and seeing the results. But there's one more area that we're perhaps even more challenged in, and that's in our own lives and human affairs. How many of us in our lives have struggled in relationships of one kind or another? How many of us in our world have struggled to find harmony with others who have beliefs that are different from our own? For me, faith is what keeps us going through all of these, because without it, without that desire for something better, we might just despair and die. And that really brings me to my story and why I'm here on a Sunday morning talking with you. Because up to the age of 26, I believed and trusted very much. I had faith in science and math and the environment. I had faith in problem solving and judging good and bad, right and wrong. I was really good at that. And I was good at doing my best to do the good and the right as I saw it. But often that pitted me against others who saw it differently. And to be frank, I was in deep pain and despair because I was experiencing a lot of conflicts in my life. So much so that I was calling out inside for help. And at the age of 26, what came to me, as I've spoken about here before, is this book called A Course in Miracles, a spiritual path similar to Unity of how to grow our minds so that we can find more peace in our lives and more power through the power within us to change our lives and our world. One of the seminal ideas, as I've spoken about before, Unity White Rock, is that we have two parts to our mind. It's still the biggest revelation in my last 40 years, that we have a split mind between our fearful side and our loving side, our doubting side, our trusting side, our not having enough side, and our seeing the prosperity in the world around us. Of course, Miracle says we look through the eyes of our ego thinking or through the eyes and with the eyes of spirit. And I was using ego left, right, and center. Well, working with the Course taught me to shift my thinking from ego to spirit, from fear to love. And because I practiced, even though I didn't believe what I was reading in the Course, I was starting to experience more peace. And I started to experience more ideas and something in me that knew more than I did, if I can put it that way. What's more important is that it created better results too, and that really caught me because of my science and math orientation. And that's why I've stayed with it for the last 40 years. It helped me to heal a deeply troubled marriage that was challenging for 8 years straight. And it helped me to enter into a new relationship for the next 17 years that was totally different, rich, harmonious, and powerful as a beautiful relationship can be. It helped me create projects that were seemingly impossible, some of which I've spoken to you about before, like creating the Blue Box, or a project at Expo 86 where I was privileged to invite pavilions from around the world and 50,000 people to celebrate the International Day of Peace. But it was much more than that. The course has helped me at times to help two people I know recover from the edge of death so that they're living full lives now. Prayer and healing have that power. It helped me help a couple in my apartment building in Toronto to deal with dementia. And through 2 years of what might have separated this couple, they grew closer and closer together instead of apart because of the principles that we were all using of the love and spirit that is in us. And most of all, it brought me back out to Vancouver to be with my mother, who returned from Australia, and the rich time that we have had over the last 3 years. It's simply because I listened to Spirit that helped me to come back. What I've learned through both belief and experience is that there is something more. I know it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Something that helps and guides and supports and calms and so much more. And that's why I want more of it. Charles Fillmore put it this way: having confidence in unseen and unrealized powers, whatever you call it, God, Jesus, the Christ, Holy Spirit, the big love, or just the universe. That's the something more I'm pointing towards. Whatever word you want to use is just fine by me. But yet there's also a paradox to faith. And this is a bit perplexing because it's not just about belief and works. It's also about forgiveness, no matter what happens. You see, when we have a belief and a wanting to something to happen and it doesn't, it can be a crushing experience. We can wonder and doubt and start to rip ourselves up, go back to the ego. And yet there's something about forgiving and letting go of our beliefs and what we thought would happen and finding out the gift in what actually is happening. I think that this quote from the Bible kind of sums it up. It said, "For by grace you have been saved through faith. For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God." You see, what it's pointing to is that as much as we can try to be channels for the divine, we can't do it by ourselves. There is a greater consciousness, awareness, presence that can only give it to us as we are open and willing. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. So, trying to bring some of these ideas together, let me begin to summarize. What I've learned is that we can put our faith in our small self as we know it, our human mind, our individual self, and in our life conditions as we experience them right now, and in the world as it is. Or we can put our faith into our larger self, a self that is both mind and heart, is both us and connected to others in all of life, that has in it the wisdom that can help us transform all of those life conditions and the world as it is. Or at least that's my belief. For me, faith has come to be having belief and confidence in choosing love instead of fear, compassion instead of judgment, using affirmations, which Unity very much focuses on, is grounded on, like choosing peace or love or prosperity, asking and listening inside, and then following those ideas that come, to test them, to see if they work. And in the process, discovering that we are larger than just our small mortal selves. We are much larger and growing into something that we can't even have the vision to know what it is. For me, faith has come to be a knowing that in any situation, I can be a healing agent. And I can know inside things I can practically do to help heal my body, my mind, relationships, and the world. And for me, this is almost like the definition of what I'll call the spiritual journey. It's the shift from the small mortal mind into divine mind, from my small self to my Christ self. It's growing into the possibilities of all that allows us to be and to do in our world, and to have that life more abundant that Jesus spoke of in his time and was reported in the Bible. It's being able to transform our lives and the lives of others, and to help them to do the same for themselves and others, and collectively to transform our world. Because for me, there is a deep knowing that we do have the power to heal blindness and sickness, to transform chaos and climate change and conflicts in our world. We are here for so much more. So what I'd invite you to do is to just take a moment, turn from my words, turn within, and think about what it is that's longing in your heart to be reached, touched, or experienced. Is it love? Is it peace? Is it being more prosperous or having better relationship? Whatever it is, hold it gently inside and send out a gentle prayer to your larger self that says, I want this. Help me, please. I don't know what to do, but I trust, I have faith that you do, whoever you are, whatever you are. Tell me, guide me, lead me, teach me, help me to surrender to my highest, greatest good. Take a breath, breathe it out, and trust that something will come. Maybe you'll even hear it in the next song by Carl Katz. Welcome, Carl.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful talk. So inspiring. Always inspired by your talks. So I'm going to be playing The Secret of Life by James Taylor. Many of you would know that, but there's a requirement for Facebook that we identify every song that we play for copyright. And this song is partly about having faith in life. Here we go. The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Any fool can do it. There ain't nothing to it. Nobody knows how we got to the top of the hill. But since we're on our way down, might as well enjoy the ride. You know, the secret of love is in opening up your heart. It's okay to feel afraid, but don't let it stand in your way. 'Cause anyone knows that love is the only role. Since we're only here for a while, might as well show some style. Give this a smile, isn't it a lovely ride? Sliding down, gliding down, try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. Now the thing about time is that time isn't really real. It's just your point of view. How does it feel for you? Einstein said he could never understand it all. Planets spinning through space, smile upon your face. Oh, welcome to the human race. Some kind of lovely ride. Sliding down, I'll be gliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. Isn't it a lovely ride? See me sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. Now the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Eric. Wow, what an inspiring, deeply moving talk. And this song was so perfect, Carl. Thank you. Thank you both. That's so awesome.